Hi everyone, it's Barry from Los Angeles. This Parsha Re which means to see. Lirot is to see. But what can we see when Hashem is hidden? This is a very interesting thing because he has a whole purpose for the world and for the Jewish people and for the 70 nations. And now we are coming into Rosh Chodesh Elul, which is an acronym for Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li. I am for my beloved, and my beloved is for me. This was from King Solomon. And he mentions a loyalty and royalty of the Jewish people is as his designated conduit to carry on the values that he wants to bring to the world. Without Hashem, without God, we don't have these appropriate values. We have a mixture of what they call the profane, but Hashem wants us to be holy like. So he gives the 7 B'nai Noach, the 7 sons of Noach. They call the 7 laws are a requirement for the 70 nations. You see 7, and then 7th day is Shabbos, a few hours before Shabbos right now. The 70 nations, so we're all connected to the Jewish people. But he's just used the chosen is often misunderstood. In other words, he's given us a job. He's given us a harder job than the other nations, because the other nations don't have this Torah that God says, I want you to follow to be a light to the other nations. Well, how can I be a light to the other nations when they think I'm a little bit off the mark, so to speak? I mean, everybody is running around doing what they want to do. It's a me generation. Sociologists say me is what it's about. It's an I generation. So he says here in the Parsha, Re'eh anochi noten lefnechem hayom bracha ukakala. Here, see, anochi is the Egyptian way of saying I am giving before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, if you listen. What does it mean to listen? Okay, now we're seeing and now we're listening, because Re'eh has to do with seeing. So it's seeing and listening. And when he took the Torah at Mount Sinai, both senses were actually distorted. They saw the thunder and they saw the lightning and they heard the thunder. How can it be that Hashem is so great? He's so great that he says, they begged Moses to have the volume, to put the volume down because it was so loud, and they felt like they were going to expire. And there is a midrash that says he put the mountain over their heads and said, do you want to accept my commandments? And they said, we will do and we will listen. So it says in this parsha, listen to my commandments. The mishpatim, the chukim. The mishpatim are the laws between man and man, and the chukim are the esoteric, deep laws that it's very difficult to understand. But Hashem expects from us a certain level of faith to try to carry out all these mitzvot, all these good deeds. So anyone can do these good deeds. But he had us purify ourselves in the desert for 40 years. And he made it very easy for the Jews in the desert for 40 years, because all they had to do was follow the cloud. The cloud represents Aaron, HaKohen. The clouds of glory represent actually Sukkot. The water that was given in the desert was supplied by Miriam, Aaron's sister. This is Moses' brother and sister. They all had a mission, but Moses is the greatest prophet. And whatever he said goes, because he spoke to God face to face. So what happened was When he came back late, it was 40 days and 40 nights, and they miscalculated his coming down the mountain. There was an uproar in the camp. Aaron was known for his attribute of peace, so he tried to make peace. So he tried to placate the people in the desert after they gave him the gold, and he threw it in this fire, and I said, out of this fire came this golden calf. The golden calf was the calf was an idol of Egypt. And here we go. We just got the new spiritual blueprint for the world, what the Jews are supposed to be the conduit to bring it to these people, and they're already dancing around the calf, doing the same old stuff, going. The Torah defines borders, and this separation of the borders is called kedusha. See, people don't understand what holiness is. Holiness is separating from the profane. We have 6 days of the week. We have the holy day of Shabbat. We have we have aspects of the tradition given at Sinai, which was a holy tradition, and this we see under the chuppah. This week was my son's marriage. Now my son name is Shalom, and he married a Levi. When they marched through the desert, the Torah, the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy of Holies, were surrounded by the Levites. My son marries a girl from a 3,000-year-old tradition. The Levites protected the Aaron, the covenant of the Jewish law that was to be brought into the land of Israel, and the Kohanim and were the priests who actually were the educators to implement this law, and the Levites were the singers, and they would dance and they would sing around the Aaron in the desert for 40 years. For 40 years. And my son Shalom, the name Gruber, my last name, means the Mishkan, means this holy vessel that carried the Torah, and the gematria of Gruber and Levi is a perfect match. It was a match made $3,000 a year. His wife Jessica is the ancient name of Sarah. Sarah was the mother of our people. In Rav Aryeh Kaplan's book, he mentions that Jessica is another name for Sarah, and Shalom has a sister Sarah. So there's a connection. There's a deep connection between our families that's hidden, that was very hard to see. And the Jewish people are still here after being in the desert for 40 years. They're still trying to find that light, that inner glow. And it's through the mishpatim and the chokim. It is in these 613 laws that involve the Kohanim, the priests, and the land, and the people, and the Torah in the land. Palestine is just a contemporary name. Yisrael refers to Yaakov, which was Parsha last week. Ekev. Ekev is the root of our tradition. He made the 12 tribes. These 12 tribes surrounded the Holy of Holies in the desert for 40 years. Every tribe had a place around the... So whose claim was Palestine? It is the claim of the Jewish people. You hear the sirens? You see? That's why you should pay attention. We have to understand that we have a mission. We fulfill our mission as Jews when we learn, and we have Yirat Hashem, the fear of God. That is where the beginning of wisdom occurs. It says in Pirkei Avot, Yirat Hashem is the beginning of Chachma. Chachma is wisdom. But the wisdom of the Jewish people revolves learning and teaching it to your children. That's the wisdom. It's not AI. AI can't understand Torah. AI is artificial intelligence. Torah is holy intelligence. I would call it. Hi. So, anyway, you got to be a little bit have a sense of humor to give it over. Because if you don't, people are going to think you're a little bit off. But in reality, the Torah is keeping everybody alive. The blessing of the Jewish people is a blessing. And we all know whoever blesses the Jews is blessed, and whoever curses the Jews is cursed. So we have to see the hidden. And it says in Mesachet Shabbat, it says that 6,000 years will be the Jewish people before the ultimate redemption. We were banished from our land. And both temples were destroyed in the holiday that we just had fast, 24-hour fast, 25-hour fast from, called Tisha B'Av. They were both destroyed on the same days because the Jews weren't acting up to the mission that God gave for them. And here the non-Jews are pounding on them from all over the world as a chesed to bring the Jews back to the land of Israel. You see this war in the Middle East? I'm not worried about it. It's unfortunate that our boys have died, early 20s, but every soldier in the land of Israel is fighting for the glory of Hashem. That's the kavod of Hashem. Kavod is respect, it's honor, it's loyalty, it's royalty. And this is what the Jewish people are about. So I wish you next week, or this week, next week is Rosh Chodesh. And so also on Rosh is the head, Chodesh is new, Chadash, Chodesh is a month, Chadash is new, Chidush is a new, creative, innovative idea that follows a certain path of logic under the Jewish edge sages, which involves a chokhmah, not of AI, but of HI, holy intelligence, holy intelligence. Be holy, he says, Hashem says. Be holy because I am holy. And that's what you have to remember. And that everything that's happened to us is for our benefit. So I'll leave you with this. And you should never fear. The only fear we need is to fear Hashem. And all Jews should learn what it means to be a Jew. Should learn something today. Should light the Shabbos candles. Should do something different to bring the light of creation back to the Jewish people. Because it's the Jewish people that are saving the world. It's the Jewish people that keep the light of creation alive in this world. It's the other nations that are bringing darkness to the world. And they're paying people to advocate for their belief system, which goes back in time to the Tower of Babel, where the arrogance, where they wanted to try to destroy Hashem because man thought he could destroy the world by destroying Hashem. What stupidity. Hashem is the creator of everything. And in the times of Noah, they thought, hey, let's have marital contracts with our animals, God said, this is not why I created the world. And look at the politicians today. Before you know it, with all this mixed gender stuff, the Jewish people says men have to do certain things, women have to do certain things. And a woman is like a Torah itself. She doesn't even have to learn. It's the mitzvah. It's the mitzvah of the man to learn. So in Noach time, he was a righteous b'dorov. In his generation, he was a righteous man. And God says, build this ark. It took him 120 years. And he took 2 of each. He says, I'm going to flood the world. And then it's going to be destroyed. And we'll see if you can do better. It wasn't until 10 generations later that Avram came. Avram is the Ish Chesed, the one of kindness. The 13 midot of attributes that came about as a result of Moses smashing the 10 commandments on the mountain. When he saw the people dancing around the golden calf, he figures it's going to be better for them if I smash the men, because they're on a much better level, and God will forgive them because I had not yet given it to them. You see? You have to see the positive in everything. That's what the Torah is all about. But the only way you can learn Torah is to be humble. And Moses, the greatest prophet, was the most humble. And when his sister spoke something bad about him, they stopped moving to the desert. She had to be quarantined for seven days. She came out with a like something. It's a spiritual manifestation of not saying good things. So we learn from a brother and sister always to say good words and never say lashon hara, bad talk. It's the worst thing. It destroyed the second temple and it destroyed the first temple. The first temple was destroyed with illicit relationship, incest, and all these other things. So idol worship. But the bottom line is, we have to be kind to one another. We have to see the chesed of an omnipotent creator. Michayei metim. What is that about? Reviving the dead. It's interesting because you put a plant in the ground that's perennial, that you put in every year, take it out, and it grows a beautiful flower, and then it dies. This is the same with the soul. The soul and the body has to be connected to a greater source to live. And you must not fear this source. You should fear what his laws are and love mankind in doing these laws and knowing that there are borders, not to climb up a mountain. What do you think? There's so many languages in the world. That happened at the time of when the Jews built the Tower of Babel. Babel, le Babel, in Hebrew is to babble. So if you understand Hebrew and all the word associations, you give a whole different wisdom. Hebrew is your key to understanding the real truth. And we are the people of truth. We are the people of the book. We are the people of suffering. We are the people of challenge. But we have to overcome our challenges and bring Hashem, bring the light of Hashem into our lives. And when we bring the light of Hashem into our lives, and we destroy the darkness, we destroy the evil forces. And the evil forces all want to play in this game because they're both balanced. But God says, choose any way you choose. You want to choose evil? I'm going to help you to be a great robber. But I want you to choose the side of good, the side of Kadosh, not the side of AI and TikTok, where they're trying to work on your Yetzer Hara, on your evil inclination. Oh, it's quite amazing. It's quite entertaining and all the things that they have to offer. But it's not the essence of what Hashem wants. You have to distinguish between good and bad, between good and evil. People came over the border on October 7th like a bunch of animals, and they destroyed and they killed. Thousands came in, and this was a judgment in heaven against the Jewish people. But see, Hashem is with the Jewish people because we're still around, and we're winning the war. We're winning the war down south, and we're winning up north. They don't know what to believe now. The momentum is going towards the Jewish people because God blesses the Jewish people. Whoever blesses the Jews are blessed. Whoever curses the Jews are cursed. But how does a Jew understand Torah if he's arrogant? He says, not for me. I don't want to listen. I don't want to hear it. No, just the opposite. You hear it to become humble. And when you're humble like Moshe Rabbeinu, you'll get on your hands and feet when the whole tribe of Israel has sinned. One tzaddik like Moshe Rabbeinu says, if you don't save this people, erase me from your book. That's the power of a tzaddik. That's the power of a righteous person. That's the power of Moshe Rabbeinu. That's the power of Torah. But how can you learn Torah when you're arrogant? And you think, I know the right way. I know the best way. No, the Torah teaches us just the opposite. I don't know much. According to my ancient traditions, I'm like a baby in diapers. I don't know anything. I really don't. But I've worked my whole life, and I fought that I could see my 3 boys signing the ketubah with me in a beautiful picture. That this where my son Shalom marries from the tribe of Levi. And Levi and Gruber. Gruber is the Mishkan in Gematria, and Levi was the surrounding, the area where the Mishkan walked for 40 years. And when the clouds rose up, 600,000 got up. When the clouds set down, they all camped. 40 years. God said, when you come to the borders of Israel, I'll be with you. But you gotta leave now. I can't It's up to you to be my partners in creation. It's up to you to do my mitzvahs. It's up to you to be a light upon the nations. And if you're not a light upon the nations, it's going to hurt you. But I have the promise of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that their commitment to me will always be there, even though you might fail. I'm just trying to do my part as a little small Jew. And that's it. But I want to inspire others to see life a little bit different, to see the hidden within the revealed, to see Hashgacha Pratis, divine providence is running this world. As much as we have the freedom of choice, we have to choose towards the side of Kedusha, towards the side of holiness. Once we choose the side of holiness, we'll bring more light into the world. We bring more God's favor into the world. We will destroy the evil forces in this world by bringing the light of Torah to the world. So I wish everybody happy, great Shabbos. For the new married couple, my son Shalom and his wife Jessica, a beautiful wedding in Los Angeles, and my sons Yaakov and Daniel. May they find a nice woman to match their extreme kind, very special natures. My daughter Sarah, her children, and John, great blessing. Should all merit to have a good year as Rosh Chodesh Elul meets us this week in a few days. Ani ledodi v'dodi li, my beloved is mine. We should take this love that God has for the Jewish people and we should bring it to our families, to our children, and we should teach them the right way of unity and brotherhood, because that's what the Torah is all about. With this in mind, everyone have a good Shabbos. Barry from Los Angeles.